Ew. Oh, I didn't make it that time. Hello.
Are we recording?
I'm getting real fucking sick of you.
All right, everybody. Last week, we did the old Transformers.
Last week, which it totally is right now.
Yeah, we didn't shoot
I mean, it's next week. I mean, fuck.
It's a time later.
What?
We brought up our Vladimir Putin story.
And then didn't tell it.
So
in classic degenerate form.
And I'm gonna tell it. They're probably gonna be let down, so I might just say this. Yeah, we didn't meet Vladimir Putin. It was, what was it? It was you, me, Jack Mangini, I think.
Yep.
Nick Badami was definitely there.
Of course, Nicky Bad Meme.
Nicky Bad Meme. So we're all hanging outside Tex-Mex like we did every night back in 2017.
It's had to be before that.
Really?
2017?
Maybe that was a long time ago already.
It was a very long time ago.
So we're hanging out outside. They had some outdoor tables, and we're just chilling like on a sidewalk eating burritos at like 11 p.m. And this guy in like a Subaru Outback shows up.
No. It was not a Subaru Outback.
It wasn't?
He rolled up in like a fucking like Chevy from like 1970.
All I know is there was just so much stuff in his trunk. He had like that hatchback.
He had a flatbed, but he had one of those canopy covers over it.
Yeah.
It was like a pickup truck with like a hard top.
But you were just able to see everything. I'm like, dude, there's so much stuff in there. So like a bunch of guys, I think it was like the day of like, it was the day of the senior scavenger hunt. I mean, we had all graduated, but because I remember like 5 minutes before this dude rolled up, this fucking naked dude with like a bandana on just sprinted into 7-Eleven. And he was
screaming.
Dude, he was so fast and so pale, and it was so quiet out. You only
we
heard...
saw him before we heard him. It was like you just...
Dude,
it was like...
But
he broke the sound barrier.
But it was so quiet that you really did just hear his like bare feet on the pavement, just like, whoa! And it was just like, what the fuck? And then like a bunch of guys are in like they were in a Wrangler with like the top off it. They're all hanging out with like a megaphone, and they're like,
oh my god, he actually fucking did it.
Or maybe it was one of those like
Braylon's naked in 7-Eleven. I repeat, Braylon is naked inside of a 7-Eleven.
And now he's got to shove peanut M&Ms up his ass.
Oh, he's got to rub the peanut butter on his balls.
Oh man. So
I gotta lick it off. No.
So this fucking guy rolls up, and he like wobbles out of his car, and he just looks at the guys with the megaphone and goes,
No, you know what? They were in a pickup truck too. It wasn't a Wrangler, or it might have been one of those.
They were hanging out in some kind of car.
It was a pickup truck because I remember they were like in the bed.
Yeah, and they were just like screaming through the whole parking lot. So this guy like wobbles out of his car and just goes like, "Hey man." The first thing he said, he was like, "These girls only like you because of your big dicks." And we were like, that's probably a valid reason that a girl would like a guy.
I remember everything he said. So
and he goes,
that is burned in my. Well, first of all, he walks up to us.
There's something about Burger King.
He walks up to us. First thing he does is step on Nick's foot.
Oh, and Nick whispered to me. He goes, because Nick is very just. He goes, if this guy steps on my foot one more time, I'm leaving. And the guy was like drunk, and he kept like leaning on his foot. So he leaned on Nick's foot one more time, like immediately. Nick got up and went home.
All right, well, you skip it to the end.
That was the beginning. Nick wasn't even around for the whole thing.
He stepped right on Nick's foot. He walks up, he goes, he's like staring at them. And he just walked right up to us. We didn't prompt this. He just wandered up to us. And he goes, man, get a load of these guys, huh? And he like came off fairly normal. And then he goes, they only like you because of your big dicks. And we went, that's not a good thing to yell at someone.
Cool.
Like, that sounds like a perfectly good, I was like, I wouldn't mind that. And then he goes, these fucking animals. And he goes, they're fucking megaphones. He goes, they're fucking hot tubs. And then he goes, the nearest Burger King isn't for 5 miles.
Which isn't true.
And I was sitting there, I go, there's a Burger King right down the street.
It was right. It was right. You could see the fucking. It was right down the road.
He fucks. So then he's like, he's standing there and he's just like mumbling.
He was drinking a pink drink out of a red Solo cup, and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, you got any more of this?" He goes, "You got any more of this?" I'm like, "I didn't give that to you."
He goes, "Man, this shit's the truth."
Yeah. And he goes, he's like, man, the hard thing about life, man, is sometimes you just gotta you gotta take a shit, wipe it up, and try again, man. That's
words to live by, brother.
Man, yeah.
Amen.
So I told him, I said, dude, I gotta get a picture with you. I can't let this night come to an end, because I was also just out of it. I'm like, I need to. And the guy goes, fuck that, man. He's like, I ain't no faggot. And then he goes to walk towards his car, immediately turns around and goes, hell yeah, I'll take a picture. Okay. So I take a picture with the guy. He goes, all right, dude, I'm out of here like Vladimir. Keegan some balls deep in a burrito. He just goes, Putin? And the guy's like, fuck it, man. And I think he asked if one of us had a sleeping bag, because he was clearly living in his car. And he gets in. Oh, and he goes, tell your friend he can have the rest of my drink. And I think he was that was his apology for stepping on Nick's foot so many times. And he just got in his car and fucking left.
Well, there's 2 things you missed. There was Ian was there, and he had his vape pen.
That kid could puff the craziest shit out of a vape.
He has one of those,
fucking guy.
THC pens, and he's hitting
big,
it. And he goes, you want some of this, man? And the guy goes, oh hell yeah, brother. Sticks it in his mouth, pulls a Bic lighter out, lights it.
Lit a vape.
Yeah, he's trying to light the end of a vape. And Ian's like, no, dude, you just press the button. He goes.
He's trying to light a fucking vape.
He's trying to light the end of it. And he goes, no, man, you just press the button. And he pops out his mouth and goes, oh, fuck that, dude. And just tosses it back to him.
Oh, my God.
Dude, this dude was standing next to us for 10 minutes. It was fucking hilarious. Yeah, he kept stepping on Nick's foot. And Nick just goes, if he steps on my foot one more time, I'm fucking leaving. He steps on it again and he just goes, stands up and just walks away.
Dude, he fucking bailed hard.
And then the best part was when he left, he gets into his truck, doesn't start it, and it just rolled away.
Yeah. It was in neutral. He just...
I don't even know if it was.
He took a brick off the brake and just let it roll.
Dude, he was like a fucking magician. He left like a wizard. He just gets in the car and it rolled away.
Dude, that was fucking hilarious. That was the weirdest night.
Do you still have the picture?
Yeah, we'll put it up in our...
Nice.
Dude, oh my God, what a whack job.
I think I was a crackpot.
Yeah. Remember we went to 7-Eleven and there was just a dude there with Beats on playing with a race car? Just
that. Yeah, then I was a fucking mess.
What the fuck?
We're getting a ride home from Jack, and you thought you were staying at Jack's, and Jack, the fucking gremlin he is, goes, I don't want you sleeping in my house.
Which is weird because I would sleep there the whole summer.
So you got pissed off and went, fuck it. You just got out and started walking away. Everybody's freaking out, and I'm shit-faced in the back, and I go, car's starting to roll. I was like, I got him, and I just opened the door and rolled out. I just rolled out onto the fucking asphalt and just got up and was like, wait. And we were a block from my house, so we're walking, and we stop at a 7-Eleven, and you run into the 7-Eleven to get a sandwich. And I'm
where the cashier said, those aren't good. And I was like, fuck it.
It's 3 a.m. I'm standing there outside, and I'm I'm so drunk, but I'm just kind of wobbling around, and I look over and there's just a guy standing there with a remote control. He's like, and I'm like, and then all I hear is, and I look in the parking lot and I just see, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I go, is that an RC car? He goes, hell yeah, man. I'm like, sick. He goes, I like to come out here at night because there's nobody in the parking lot. I'm like, yeah, well,
That's
why would
cool.
there be?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah.
1 a.m.
He goes, 3 a.m. He goes, you want to try? And I went, I'm drunk. Is that legal? And he goes, yeah, man. Yeah, that's fine. I went, all right, fuck it. So I'm like driving this guy's car in circles in the parking lot, and we're just sitting there vibing out.
Dude, I walk out balls deep in this sandwich. I just see Keegan driving an RC car. I'm like, gone for like 30 seconds.
Is that a fucking race car?
Yeah, I was like, is that a fucking race car, man?
I was like, yeah, you want to drive it? And
Was that the night that I woke up on your couch with like the worst case of alcohol tremors in my fucking life?
Maybe, I don't know.
I woke up on your couch so fucking cold, just freaking the fuck out. You walk out of your room, you're like, morning. I'm like, dude, I don't fucking feel good, man. I don't fucking feel good. And I'm like just shaking, like everything fucking hurts. And you were just, it was impressive of how no help you were. Where you were just like looking
what do you
over
want me to
me.
do? Suck your blood out?
You were just like, you just looked at me, you're like, fucking drunk. I'm like, Keegan, I'm not fucking around. I don't feel good.
No, that's not what happened. You were like, what's going on with me, man? I went, oh, no, that's withdrawal. And you were like, what? I was like, yeah, those are alcohol tremors. And you're like, what the fuck is an alcohol tremor?
Yeah.
I went, that.
You just get a mirror.
That's I was like, it's like the first like sign of like alcohol withdrawal.
That was back when my drinking was fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
you know what, dude? I had something to say.
And then it was lost to the liquor. Lost in that great big whiskey barrel of a brain you get.
Wet brain. Dude, I'm actually sweating.
It's the wet seeping out. Ew.
It's like coming out my ears.
Why'd you
We should do an episode.
Why did you lick it? Don't move on to the next point like you didn't just lick it.
Nah.
Why'd you lick it?
Because you said it was alcohol.
No, it's not.
But that's what I'm drinking, so the sweat coming out is alcohol. And it's me. It's not like I'm licking your forehead.
Please don't.
All right, we got to do a pot. We're 13 minutes in. Granted, this is going to be diced up. Let's do a podcast.
All right. You didn't ask me.
Do you want me to ask you?
No,
Do you want to do a podcast?
Listen, we're freestyling from now on.
Well, now we got to keep that in, that long pause. You didn't ask me. You seemed so heartbroken.
You didn't ask.
You didn't ask.
I don't like your tone, mister.
All right, folks.
I'm excited for this episode.
Keegan's very excited, and I actually want to thank Keegan for showing me this movie.
This is one of my favorite movies on the planet.
He showed me this movie years ago after it first came out. Keegan immediately bought it on DVD. I've always been a fan of this writer/director. We've talked about him numerous times.
One of my favorites.
I'm introducing him like he's here with us, but he's not.
Give it up for
Edgar Wright and his movie Baby Driver. Dun, dun, dun. Dude, what you showed me this movie, and I've never seen you so obsessed with a movie that you showed me. There were times where I was watching it, you're like, did you see what he did? You're like, dude, look at everything. Like, look what's going on.
It's such a perfect movie.
It is, man. It's
There's
so
really
fucking good.
no. If you ask me what I don't like about it at the end of it, I probably won't be able to tell you anything.
I didn't like.
Shut up.
I didn't like how
Shut
Kevin Spacey was a pedophile.
No, you like the way he fucks kids.
I do. He's got a very good rhythm with his kid fucking.
Back when he was fucking me as a child.
Oh yeah, Kevin Spacey, more like Kevin spread me.
Ooh.
Ugh. Kevin spread me.
No, don't. All right, let me pull up my few notes.
Do you want to do a plot summary?
Yeah, I want to do a plot. Well,
I don't.
I'll give it.
Make it super brief.
Yeah, I will absolutely shit the bed if you don't go see this movie. I will perpetually shit the bed.
This is probably like one out of the 4 movies we did that we highly fucking recommend.
Turn this fucking podcast off and go watch it.
Yeah, and then come back
This
for all
is
of our viewer.
Genuinely.
Oh, look who's drinking now.
Well, I've been with you for about 3 hours now.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
I'm only driving drunk because that bitch drove me to drink. Hey!
Hey! What song is that?
Eminem. I think
He's just got so many words, I can't keep up.
that guy, he's been making words for so long.
Dude, fucking Slim Shady had had a set of twin babies in a Mercedes Benz with the windows up and the temp goes up to the mid 80s. Sorry, Doc, but I've been crazy. It's okay, go with him, Jennifer.
Who?
Got him. Eminem is just so much better like than everyone that he's in like a song with. It's so funny. Like I put on Forgot About Dre to not listen.
It's called
to
So
Dr.
Much Better,
Dre.
by the way.
All right, folks, get ready for this week's plot summary with Keegan. Dun, 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 dun. Actually, can I redo that? Hold on.
No.
Hold on. Just give me a sec, because I think that this is what I've been doing for the last like 8 weeks.
It's like the Jeopardy music.
No, it's not Jeopardy. How do you spell? All right, get ready for this week's plot summary with Keegan. No, that's not it.
I want you to know, whatever you play, we can't put on here because it'll get copyright.
That's Family Feud, though. Was it Jeopardy?
Whatever it is, you can't play it, or
Why?
else we'll get a copyright strike. What the fuck is that?
Just play the fucking thing. This week's plot summary with
There's
Keegan.
nothing to play. You do it manually.
Shit, I
every
meant
week.
to say the thing. Do the plot summary, you fuck.
Alrighty, so
I'm out of beer.
we're in Atlanta in an unspecified time and place, and we meet our friend Baby. Baby is hanging out in a car with his 3 compatriots, and they're about to rob a fucking bank, brother.
B-A-B-Y, baby.
Shut up. They're about to rob a bank, all right? 3 of the dudes run all into the bank, and they start shooting the place up like crazy, and our friend Baby stays back because he's the getaway driver, all right? And he's got his little iPod. He turns it on. He starts listening to Bell Bottoms by the...
John Spencer Blues,
by Jon Stewart.
So anyway.
All right, so then they rob the bank. They make their way out, take off, all right? Then Baby shows some of the most impressive driving you've ever seen. He makes a valiant getaway through trickery and deception. And then he goes to buy coffee.
Yeah.
He goes back to his house, talks with his deaf stepdad. They talk about how he doesn't want to be, a driver anymore. He doesn't want to be a getaway driver. We learn that he didn't really choose to be a getaway driver. It's just that when he was a kid, he used to boost cars, and he accidentally stole Kevin Spacey's car, who is like a
Crime boss
type, and he decides to let him steal the car, and then tells him that he has to repay him the money lost, because it was his car and whatever drugs or shit he had in the car. He calls it merchandise.
Yeah.
So now Baby's working off his debt. When we meet him, he's only got 2 or 3 more jobs left before he's squared away. And then we see those last 2 jobs. They rob a bank, and then on the very last job, it goes tits up. And then that's where I'm going to leave it, because I want you to see the movie, and that's the rest of the movie. That's how it goes tits up. That was the plot summary. That's all I'm giving you. Go watch the movie.
Yeah, watch the fucking movie, man. It was sick. Let's I think we should first discuss just Edgar Wright himself. I mean,
Edgar Wright is probably one of my favorite modern directors.
yeah, he's very up there for me. If you're unfamiliar with Edgar Wright, he did this movie, he did Scott Pilgrim, he did Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, The World's End. He did Last Night in Soho.
I still have to see that.
Oh,
I wanted to
dude,
see
it
that in
was-
theaters, and I never did.
It was
'Cause I'm a
so
lazy
cool.
bitch.
It was fucking cool, man. And
He
it was,
is such. He has such an interesting way of like writing a movie.
dude, the technological side of Last Night in Soho was unbelievable. But what's awesome about him is like his more earlier movies were really funny, but in like the humor in them, it was so smart and exaggerated and just ridiculous. But then with Baby Driver, which was still really funny, took a more darker turn. And then Last Night in Soho was just like a crazy like thriller, like a suspense thriller, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And although it wasn't my favorite Edgar Wright film, I had a couple iffy spots on it. I respect the guy so much for just going into a complete different genre and taking on a whole new crazy genre that he's never done before, and the movie was still great.
Yeah, it's not easy to transcend genres and
Yeah.
kind of break out of your own mold. I know we've seen it with Jordan Peele recently. Edgar Wright can kind of do no wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
Because they take time. I mean, I just listed all of those Edgar Wright movies. I mean,
oh yeah.
you know, he's not just banging them out year after year.
Well,
He takes his time with them.
We were singing his praise last episode, but you know, we said we were surprised by Michael Bay because Michael Bay has a very tight stigma attached to him, where he can only make one type of movie.
Yeah.
He's very good at making that type of movie. We've come to find out, but you know, I have more respect for a director and a writer that can kind of do whatever they please and do it with the same care every single time.
Yeah.
Ron, can't go 5 seconds without looking at that pretty mug.
I was moving it.
You fucking bitch, piece of shit, asshole.
Ah,
Get a haircut, hippie.
come on. But yeah, Edgar Wright the guy is just a massive talent.
I was gonna say, I was gonna bring it up when we reviewed the movie, but we've been saying for years, Edgar Wright is one of the last few directors we've been paying attention to that just understands the importance of visual storytelling and visual jokes.
100%.
He is a master of showing you things that are going to make you laugh and like weaving in jokes into the story, and especially because you know it's happening while you're just watching. Like
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz is a great example. The whole movie is pretty much like that because the plot and the dialogue, it's smart, it's funny. A lot of the jokes are what's happening on screen. You know, you've got, he can turn something like a train ride out into the country into something funny because Simon Pegg, I almost said Cowell, and I was like, I know that's wrong. Simon Pegg, you know, he's
Simon and Garfunkel.
he moves out, he gets moved out to the country to be a cop out there, and he takes a train out there, and he has his Japanese peace lily with him, so he's just going through the train station process with this big potted plant in a backpack. And you know, it shows, you know, he's sitting on a bench and he falls asleep, and like then it cuts to a train flying by. It's the middle of the night and it wakes him up, and it's like all these weird little visual jokes that are just like making the experience enjoyable. It's like it's not just dick fart, dialogue joke.
A great thing that he does too is when he got stationed up to the country, he's like, do I have to do this? They're like, yeah. So he like, you know, it shows him just packing a suitcase real quick in like one shot. It's all one shot cuts. It's like, pack the suitcase at the train station. Train goes by, in the cab, arrives at the hotel, and it's done like really funny. Yeah. But he also, it's such a great editing style because it saves all that time and that bullshit to make a more full story of what you actually want to focus on rather than him like doing a whole montage of the town and him showing up like he.
Have you ever heard of a little movie called Birdemic?
like, like I'm trying, man. I'm really,
Have you?
No.
All right. I think it's Birdemic. It might not be. Birdemic is a movie about it was about Birdemic is a movie about an apocalypse where the birds are fed up with humanity. So they start killing people by the millions by flying into them and exploding. And that movie makes me laugh because there is about 10 to 20 minutes of the beginning of the movie where the main character is just driving to get gas. And it's so funny how long it takes. It's legit. It is like 10 to 20 minutes of just him in a blue Mustang just driving down the road. Then he makes a right turn. He drives down the road. He makes a left turn. And then you finally get to wherever he was going. And it's him pumping gas for 5 minutes. And then he gets back in his car and he goes to work.
I hate that, but that's exactly the opposite of what Edgar Wright does.
Check out Degenerate movie reviews next week when we do Birdemic.
We're not doing that.
I'll hold him down to make him watch it.
Ain't happening. But yeah, he's come a long way, Edgar Wright, and I think like, I mean, if you're talking overall, I think Baby Driver might be his best movie. Like, if you're talking like in an overall sense, like it's obviously not the funniest,
right?
But I think like as far as like everything goes, I really do think this is like super up there.
Oh yeah. I agree.
It really has everything you need. It's fucking hilarious, action packed. His shot style always impresses me.
It's so unique too. Like it's the only movie I know that is like it.
And he's really, like you just said, he really is the only director where I'll be like, holy shit, dude, Edgar Wright has a movie coming out. Mm-hmm. Like, that's exciting. And in Baby Driver, he has a lot of big names attached to this movie that don't really have these big roles, but because he's such a talent, everyone's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll be in it.
It's the Quentin Tarantino effect. You want to work with Quentin Tarantino so bad, you'll take whatever the fuck he gives you.
Yeah, like someone will be like a bartender for 2 seconds.
Yeah, and it's like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
How about we get into the movie?
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
First of all, I want to say this brings me great joy, but there's no dialogue in this movie for like the first 10 minutes.
I didn't even notice that.
It is so nice. I feel like 90% of the movies we've ever reviewed opens with narration. And it's no secret how I fucking feel about it at this point. Dude, two characters don't even talk in this movie for like the first like 10 minutes.
At least I know the opening scene is like 7 minutes.
Yeah, the car chase alone is several minutes.
Yeah.
And then there's the little bit before that, and then there's the coffee shop scene, which that is the first dialogue, and it's the guy going, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
And Baby just going, yeah.
Let me get 4 coffees. 4 black coffees.
What's your name, Baby? Baby?
Baby.
B-A-B-Y, baby.
B-A-B-Y, baby.
First of all, jumps straight into the action.
It's got a great hook, man.
I like, it blows me away that anybody would not choose to open their movie like this.
I know.
It's so refreshing and so nice to just get into it. Like, so many of these movies, they waste so much fucking time sitting there telling you shit you can just know. Like, all right, I can tell that these guys are criminals. They are all dressed the same and they have guns. Then they go into a bank and they rob it. Okay, I get it. They're bank robbers. Okay, Baby stays behind in the car. I get it. He's the getaway driver. Baby puts on some music. Okay, I get it. And then he starts singing, dancing along to it. He likes music. This is all being established, and nobody has said a word. And I get it. I understand it. I understand. I don't need to be spoon-fed.
And, because it easily could have opened up with him pulling up to the bank and, the guys get out to go rob the bank, and he could be like, "That's me in the car, Baby."
Yeah.
I'm a getaway driver for these guys because, you know, I'm the best there is. But like, it could have been really fucking annoying.
And Baby
But it
does
wasn't.
have a really interesting backstory, but he's never the one to say it, and he barely even acknowledges it. Like
Yeah.
it's not something for him to talk about.
And Edgar Wright obviously follows that show don't tell rule with his backstory, but he also doesn't harp on it too long.
Yeah.
We know Baby's backstory from throughout the entire 2-hour movie, maybe 5 minutes is spent on his backstory, but you already know enough.
So I was going to ask you too. So there is a big chunk of exposition in this movie, and it is mostly Baby's backstory. But I wanted to talk about like how you can do exposition properly, because it's the scene where Kevin Spacey is explaining to Jamie Foxx
I love that fucking scene.
who exactly Baby is, because Jamie Foxx is a character named Bats, and he doesn't understand why Kevin Spacey always has this kid as the getaway driver who doesn't speak, and he always has headphones in. He's like, and Kevin Spacey's like, don't fucking worry about it. But he's like, Bats is a persistent little shit.
Yeah.
So then Kevin Spacey just breaks it down for him, and it's literally just a chunk of exposition. Like, we've seen it a million times, and we've shit on it plenty of times, but like the way he does it isn't insulting in the slightest.
It made me fucking laugh when I watched it last night again. He was like drawing this map of their next heist. And then like he gives Jamie Foxx a chance. Kevin Spacey's like, if he wasn't good, would I vouch for him? And then, but that just wasn't enough for Jamie Foxx. He's like, yeah, but why the fuck does he just never say anything? Like, what's his deal? What is up with this fucking guy? And you know, and I'll let you take it away if you want.
Yeah, it's I think it helps that it was Kevin Spacey, who, despite being a scumbag, is a very excellent actor.
Phenomenal. I will continue to watch Kevin Spacey.
I think that's one of the parts is it takes a lot of talent and charisma to deliver exposition in a way that doesn't make you want to punch someone out. He's not just dryly saying it. He's emphasizing. He's like, you know who that is? He's like, you ever heard of the Ghost of 85? He's like, that's him. That's that. He's like, that's the kid. He was tearing up evading cops. He's like, you drove up the highway with no headlights on. He's giving this crazy epic story.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's our guy.
And it doesn't even I don't even think it shows Baby really.
Baby's just in the back
sitting there like,
and he has headphones on because he always has headphones on because he has tinnitus.
yeah.
So he's just staring off. That's another thing that you learn in that moment. Where
Still got a hum in the drum.
Yeah, but Bats is like, why the fuck is he always wearing headphones? He's like insulted by it. He's like, how am I supposed to trust this guy if he's not even fucking paying attention? And he's like, no, he's got tinnitus. He wears the headphones because he still has a hum in the drum. He's like, he was in an accident when he was a kid. Like that. All right, there we go. It's very basic, very cut and dry. There's no fat on that line.
And again, Edgar Wright, the way he does exposition, yeah, he doesn't make it boring. It's fucking funny. When Kevin Spacey's telling this story, he's so excited. Yeah. He's like, and then he tried stealing my Mercedes, and I didn't stop him because I was just so impressed by the balls on this kid.
Blinded by the balls on this kid.
So I just let him fucking do it. and he's like, I didn't even try to stop him. And his like Kevin Spacey's acting definitely made that exposition even better. I think what helped too is he's preoccupied. Like he's telling. So if you're going to do exposition, you should probably do it character to character. Nobody should ever just be saying it out loud. Like that's like the most annoying way you could do exposition. But Kevin Spacey's telling Bats, who doesn't know. So Bats is now our stand-in because we don't know who Baby is. Bats doesn't know who Baby is. We're learning this information at the same time Bats is. But Kevin Spacey, while he's doing it, he's preoccupied. It's like he's barely paying attention to what he's doing. He's doing all this shit on a blackboard. Yeah.
And he's retelling this story, and it's not like, oh, this is Baby, this is who he is. It's like, here's this epic tale. That's Baby.
Yeah.
He's telling the story of Baby without saying, Baby did this, and then you went down in there, and then he's like, the Ghost of 85?
Yeah, his exposition is this great tune-in story.
Yeah, and he says, Bats goes, he's like, the boss, wasn't that like 10 years ago? He's like, That's our boy. He goes, boss, isn't that like 10 years ago? He's like, yeah, well, I said boy, or he's been boosting cars since he was old enough to see over the steering wheel.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just a fucking awesome way to say that.
and as you know, an actor, you shouldn't, like, they would say actors should always be doing something. Like, I've gone to so many acting classes and shit, and it's like, you should always be doing something. So if it was just Kevin Spacey talking to Jamie Foxx on, like, the other side of the room, like, oh yeah, well, that's Baby. He Ghost 85, he had the police going in circles, driving with no headlights. Yeah, that's him. But no, he's like,
it'd be flat. It's
yeah,
just boring.
exactly. But he's like writing on the board, and he's like, yeah, he's fucking crazy. He did this, and that. And then he acknowledges himself. He's like, look at that. I just spewed all that shit to you and drew a map at the same time. God, I'm fucking great. Who's ready to do this?
Go shop. Let's talk it.
Yeah. He's
also just like a super charismatic character. Like, he's so like there's that moment where Kevin Spacey lays out the whole plan. We don't see it because Baby's not paying attention. Well, Baby doesn't seem to be paying attention. He's listening to his music and just kind of nodding along. And this drives Bats crazy. Bats like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how am I supposed to believe that he heard a word of what you just said? And Kevin Spacey goes, Baby? And he
runs through the whole
pops his headphones off and says what he says verbatim. And then puts his headphones back in. Kevin Spacey looks at him and goes, that's my baby.
Yeah, and
every character in this just had so much like charisma and like they like ooze so much charm.
I loved Kevin Spacey in this movie when you really shouldn't, I guess.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Because he's the one of the main antagonists who's kind of holding Baby's freedom hostage.
Yeah. But which is crazy too, because like he is the antagonist, but he's on Baby's side. That's such like a there's another example of how Edgar Wright just writes so interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get into why this movie is the next level of that version.
Yeah, but because he is because Kevin Spacey's character Doc is on Baby's side. But the thing is that Baby is allowing him to make money, so he doesn't want to let him go. So he's like, I'll defend you as much as I can, but you still fucking work for me because I'm making money because of you. Mm-hmm. Like, if he didn't have him as a getaway driver, and even there's this scene where in the beginning, after they do their first heist, he goes, Baby gets paid the same as everybody else. And then he's like, and then they go to the parking garage, and Kevin Spacey's like, I hate taking candy from a baby. Takes all of Baby's cut except for like 10 grand. And he's like, here. And it's like, that's just like
evil.
Yeah, it's fucked.
He's basically holding him hostage and like throwing him breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And his character's so funny because then he has that kind of redeeming moment at the end where I don't want to spoil this movie at all, but he kind of like he does something admirable at the end, and you're like, what? Like, this guy's all over the fucking place. Yeah. Like, once the jig is up, he's like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, right. Like, he just doesn't care.
But yeah, that scene is super interesting to me because normally, I hate exposition, and normally Edgar Wright isn't one for exposition. Yeah. He's so visual, and this movie specifically, you learn so much about a character that doesn't speak ever. Like, he's a very quiet person, but you learn so much about him. My favorite way of learning about characters is through other characters. Like, personally, I think that's the best way you can learn about a character. Like last week, we had the Transformers, and we learned a lot about Megatron without Megatron even being there. We just know because of other characters' reactions to him and the way they speak about him and the way they act when he shows up and his actions. And it's like, that's how you should learn about a character. You shouldn't learn about it through dialogue.
Yeah, and Baby is such a quiet guy until he's alone. Like, even the first scene when they're going to rob the bank, he's just sitting there quiet. The three guys get out, whatever, go to rob the bank. And he immediately puts on music and starts lip syncing and dancing and playing with the windshield wipers and playing the violin of the song. And he is a charismatic guy. Yeah. And then as soon as they come back in, obviously it's like, all right, time for business. And he fucking
goes back to being a statue.
Away. But then, they make him get coffee. They run through their plan, and he's just sitting there like, But then when he fucking goes home, he's dancing, he's singing, and I love how much of like a kid he really is, because he secretly does record these meetings and sessions, but not even to give to the cops or anything. He makes like beats, and they're not good at all. And like he like takes their conversations and like sound mixes it and does these like, fucking whatever, and adds all this like sound mixing, and he makes these cassette tapes, and he's got like 100 of them, but it's only for his own amusement. But again, like that's just like something that like, yeah, a young guy would fucking who doesn't have any friends or really anyone that close to him would do.
Yeah. Until he meets Debbie.
Yeah, until he meets Debbie. But I mean, it's like,
and he has a line where she goes, she's like listing all the things she knows about him. She goes, "You don't talk much." And he goes, "Yeah, I think I've talked to you more in this last like couple days than I have all year." And you're like, "Year?
Yeah.
All year, baby?"
Yeah.
Or when he orders coffee, he's just very quick and smooth about it. And they're like, "Baby," he's B-A-B-Y, baby.
Yeah, he's like, "Let me get 4 coffees, cream chick," and that's it.
Or I love that he's listening to I don't know the name of the song, but the lyrics go, "Yeah, yeah."
Oh,
yeah.
the Harlem Shuffle.
Yeah, and he's like, he takes the headphone off to order, and the guy's like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, yeah, like as the song does it.
Yeah, like everything is in sync. This movie flows beautifully.
Well, so why don't we get into
smooth like fucking butter?
Why don't we get into why that is? So the writing of this movie is like the main reason I saw the movie. I heard about Edgar Wright talking about it briefly. Edgar Wright wrote this movie he wrote the soundtrack first and then wrote the movie around the soundtrack. Every single little detail and story elements and scenes are all dictated by the music.
Yeah.
And that is fucking insane to me. That is nuts. So the scene is Baby's walking to the coffee shop. He gets the coffee and then he walks home. He does that all to the song. And as he's going, all of his actions are dictated by the song. He's walking and there's a part where a trumpet goes. And just as that happens, he's walking past a trumpet store, and there's a mannequin with a trumpet, and he mirrors the mannequin perfectly and does the trumpet thing and keeps walking. And then there's the yeah, and then
all the lyrics of the song are like graffitied in the streets.
They're on the walls behind him as he's walking past. And there's like weird little mini stories playing out like as he's walking. There's like a couple fighting in the background. There's cops kind of creeping around that he's trying to avoid.
Yeah.
There's a Jesus freak screaming about shit on the side of the road. And kind of my favorite part about it is when he's in the coffee shop and he orders the coffee and he kind of turns around to just kind of like, wait for the coffee. And that's when he sees Debbie as, the main love interest. And she's walking past. And if you're paying attention to the background, which I hope you are, there was a graffitied heart on the wall, and when she walks past it, it's now filled in red. It was just a heart.
Yeah, or it was
outline
like black
of a heart
or something.
Yeah, and then when she walks past, it's filled in red. And that's just like...
Yeah, because here's the thing, because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
But it's like, yeah, boom. Okay, it's called Love at First Sight.
Yeah, it's called visual storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
And again, this is a guy that he will not rush art.
No.
He will fucking take his time to think about all these details. And again, we spoke about this when we did Transformers, the Michael Bay one. It's like, he put in a lot into that movie. And you were saying shit about like how the military scenes, like, oh, they do this because of this. And it's like, you're like, yeah, that was pretty cool. It's like, yeah, because these directors are thinking about that. Mm. And when they do it, they want you to have that reaction of, oh, that was cool. It's like, I know I did this on purpose because I want you to think it's cool.
Yeah.
And I want you to zone in on this fucking story that's happening right now.
And it's just like it's such an interesting way to tell a story. And it's like, yeah, he could sit there and we could watch Baby be like, wow, she's really hot. It's like, but
Yeah. Let me
is
get
that
my
really
coffee.
worth filming and spending money on and
Yeah.
making me watch it? Or is like coming up with a cool way to visualize that? Is that not better?
Yeah. And I was gonna say, and like 90% of the actions in this movie are synced up with some form of music.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah,
It is like
every
just insane. Like even the parts that are minor, like there's like a drum beat or like a bass tune, and it's like boom, 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 ba dum bum bum, and it's Doc laying out the cash, and he lays it out like, ch, 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 and it just lines up. And there's even such smaller parts that you could just miss, but everything is in beat and in sync.
there's very few moments in this movie where music isn't playing.
Yeah.
And that's because the music is driving the story. The music is the movie is in direct tandem with the music because the music came first and the story came after. Yeah. That's the part that blows me away about Edgar Wright is I wouldn't even think to do that. That sounds insane to me.
Yeah, I mean,
to write down the soundtrack before you've written a single word,
you don't know.
And yeah, and then, like he obviously had to like have an idea. Like, all right, this song is going to play when he sees the girl he loves. All right, this song is going to play during the chase scene. It's like, but then to tie the details to the details of the song is genius, and I don't. Yeah. I've never seen a movie like that.
No.
It's just insane to me.
Yeah, he really... And also, real quick, the cast in this movie was fucking stacked.
Oh, yeah.
You had Ansel Elgort as Baby. You had Lily James as Deborah, the love interest. You had Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, John Bernthal, John Hamm. I mean, there weren't too many main characters.
I mean, like half the actors you just named are side characters.
Yeah.
John Bernthal's in it for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's in it for 5 minutes, but he has such a memorable part because that's what Edgar Wright does. He's not writing characters just to fill in like, oh, well, one guy can't rob a bank alone, so we got to make it 3 people. Okay. This
is bank robber number 1.
Yeah.
This is bank robber number 2.
Yeah, like even when they make it back to the warehouse, he gives John Bernthal this big scene about Baby.
I fucking love this scene.
You know,
I love this scene.
He's like,
so
what
much.
makes him so fucking special? Blah, blah, blah. And like, then he ends his scene by, they're all in the elevator. They all parked on different levels of the parking garage. And John Bernthal's like, I get out right. He goes, ding. He goes, here. And he goes, well, if you don't see me again, I'm dead. And just fucking leaves. And that's all you see from him again. But he did a great fucking job because Edgar Wright gives all these actors the proper tools to work with.
John Bernthal's character kind of has the same thing Bats has going, where he just doesn't trust Baby.
Yeah,
and he's trying to like provoke him into like doing something. 'Cause Baby really just sits there and zones out. Like he doesn't interact with anybody ever because he doesn't want to be part of this life. He doesn't want to be like involved in this. He's just there because he's forced to be there. So Bernthal's character is like grilling Baby, and Baby's just kind of stoically sitting there. And Baby always has sunglasses on, so he takes his sunglasses off and he puts them on himself, and he starts talking to Doc. And as he's talking, Baby pulls a second pair of sunglasses out and puts them on.
It's also more funny that Baby's out of focus as this is happening.
He's like behind John, and he's just like, he just puts a second pair on, and John like glances back to make a point, and he goes, the fuck, just stands up and slaps them off his head and walks away. And then Baby pulls out a third pair of sunglasses and puts them on. It's like, oh, dude, I just love that scene.
And it's great because, like, John Bernthal was kind of going off about him, but, like, after what Baby did in the car on that getaway scene, like, John Bernthal couldn't be too mad because he does trust Baby. And he even said, he's like, I'm not saying he's not good at what he does, but I don't think Jamie Foxx saw that yet. Mm-hmm. So he was so skeptical about the whole thing. And of course, that's when things started to go awry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because there's that scene where he's listening to his music and they're like swapping cars and he's like, oh, hold on, I gotta fix the song. And
I gotta rewind.
He's like rewinding the song and it's like and it's like, really?
It's an early iPod where you had to physically like scroll it backwards.
Yeah,
to
and
rewind.
it was really I didn't like that when I first saw it, but it's unsettling for a reason, because in this scene is when the movie takes its turn for the worst.
Yeah.
And
you're also watching Baby kind of like out of his element in a way.
Yeah.
Like he's so in tune to music that the second something goes, out of plan, he like freaks out and he has to like, he's like, I gotta restart the song. And he makes everybody wait for him to rewind the song.
Yeah.
And it's like, there is something wrong with Baby.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's kind of his like escapism. Like he doesn't want to be there, so he escapes into his music.
Yeah.
And then just drives his ass off. And it's like, the other characters are like unsettled by him because he doesn't really like, it's not like a personal thing to him. He doesn't even want to be there.
I mean, everyone thinks that he kind of puts himself on this pedestal of, I don't have to talk, I don't have to listen, I'm better than all of you. It's like, that's not the case though, but he doesn't really bother to give people the time of day to explain that, because Doc changes his group of criminals for every job he does. So it doesn't really make sense for Baby to form relationships with these people, especially since they're bad people and he doesn't want to. He's like literally held hostage into doing this.
Yeah, I love when Lily James's character Debbie he tells her that he's a driver. She's like, oh, like a limousine? He goes, kind of.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wonder if you drive around anyone I know. And he goes, I hope not.
Yeah. And then he takes her out to dinner, and Kevin Spacey just happens to be at the restaurant and, threatens the shit out of him. Threatens like, oh, your girlfriend's cute. Let's keep it that way. You still work for me. And it's just like, oh, God. And it's like, I forgot where I was going with this, but, he doesn't bother to try to have these good relationships with people because, again, he doesn't want to be bad. He's just forced. He doesn't have an out. And he tries to get out and be a pizza delivery driver. And here's the thing. As a former pizza delivery driver, it's a funny note of just how much money he made from that. Because, he started, laying, all his 20s, 10s, 5s, singles on, the table. As a former delivery driver, he was making a shit ton of money. Yeah, so that's a fun little detail because he's such a good, fast driver that people are giving him more generous tips. It's, again, those small details are fucking perfect. Much like the rest of the fucking movie. Because, I want to do a full review of this, but, granted, if people are watching this, they've probably seen the movie. But I don't want to spoil it.
But you don't have to. I try to tell people that we're still funny. You can still watch us talk about a movie.
Yeah.
And when people are like, I can't watch your podcast because I've never seen that movie. No, please watch. Please.
We're begging.
Please watch. Yeah, I don't want to go. I didn't even take that many notes, even though at this point I have the movie memorized. I just don't I'm trying to give you enough to make you go watch it.
Yeah. I mean, this movie, it's weird because it hits you in your subconscious of just how smooth this fucking movie is playing out.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the way that he incorporates his editing style and the music into all the shots. It just is so fucking fresh and smooth. And there's not a minute where you're bored or where there's downtime. Everything is exciting.
It has that same thing Spider-Man has, where it's just it's just a good momentum. It's just a good
with the
flow.
Spider-Verse?
Yeah, Spider-Verse. Yeah. It doesn't waste your time. I hate when I'm watching a movie and I'm counting the minutes it's wasting.
Yeah.
Even
2001.
Oh, that whole movie was a waste of time.
Fucking hate that movie.
And again, I don't mean it wasted my time. I mean it wasted its own time. You only have a certain amount of minutes in a movie. So you only have a certain amount of time to do stuff.
And it was a 2.5 hour movie and they wasted 2 hours.
To waste time doing
wasted
stuff.
So much time.
It's like, don't. You're wasting time. I'd rather fill that time with something good, please. Yeah, this. I mean, this movie just it has so much personality, so
Yeah.
much style, and it's so good. It's like it's just you can't once you watch it, there's no other way. And it's not even like you have to be like into crime movies. You have to be into car movies.
Because the weird thing though, like it doesn't feel like a car driving movie, and it
heist movie.
Yeah, and it doesn't really feel like it's all crime and this and that. It's just it's like they're their own type of like kind of outlaws. Like, because it's weird. It's not like it cuts to like, the precinct and all the cops have like, candid photos of them on a fucking corkboard. Like, what are we gonna, like they're their own little weird group of criminals.
Yeah, there's like you can hear in the background sometimes like news reports talking about them, and they have no idea who they like. There's zero. Like I think they get a picture of Baby at some
from
point.
a red light camera.
Yeah, and that's about it. Like that's and it's like a blurry black and white picture, enough where Baby straight up he's walking past a cop with all the coffee, and just like puts the coffee up against his head, ducks, and then crosses the street. Like any cop in the world wouldn't go, "Hey, buddy, where the fuck are you going? What the fuck was that all about?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh shit!" He like crosses the street. A cop would be like, "All right, I'm following him for the next couple blocks."
The way, like when you watch the first half of this movie and just how like more upbeat it is, it's like, oh, this is what they do. We have all our established characters. Oh, he's in love with this girl now, and oh, things are going great. Compared, like the second half takes a hard left turn with very minimal like momentum. Like it's kind of like, this one job goes kind of fucked, but then like right after that, this whole movie goes fucking sideways.
Yeah,
so fast, because Jamie Foxx wants to go have a late night dinner in the diner where his fucking girlfriend, where Baby's girlfriend Debbie works at, and shit just gets so fucking hostile so fast. And then next thing you know, they all have to hide out in the warehouse and shit. It just
that part too is it's because the first half of the movie is establishing all these characters. And it's like then we get to that moment. We all know who these people are, and we know what they're capable of, and we know that they're all fucking psychos. And then to put somebody as innocent as Debbie into that mixture is horrifying.
Yeah, because she is literally like, her opening shot is her walking into the diner singing. She's like, what is she singing? She's like,
Baby.
B-A-B-Y, baby. And then like she sees Baby just sitting alone with his like recorder. She goes, oh, what's this? And just takes it. She's like, oh, testing. Hi, yeah. And it's like, for all
she's
she knows,
innocent and cute.
Yeah, but for all she knows, Baby could be like, why the fuck are you touching that? Give me that. But she's just so cute and charming where she's like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to take this. Hi. And it's like, that's like...
She's also like, she's like a mirror to Baby.
Yeah, compared to him, she's an extrovert.
Well, what I'm saying is like she's the same as Baby, where Baby has that innocence in him. It's just he's been in this environment and like hardened by it, and then the environment goes to Debbie. Like she isn't placed in the environment shows up to her diner with Baby in tow, and Baby knows what's at stake, but Debbie is kind of just getting clued into it.
Yeah.
And
like when they walk into the diner, she's so happy to see him, and he's just like,
he ghosts her. He's like, don't. He's like, and it's so unsettling, but you can see how it's like Baby knows what is at stake because he's like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because like him and Debbie are kind of the same type of person.
The funniest thing is like how the way they're positioned in the booth. Jamie Foxx has like Baby like stuck in the booth, and then when Debbie comes over, so it's like Baby, Jamie Foxx's Bat's character and then Debbie. So, and he's kind of like looking at her and then looking at him and looking at her and looking at him. And he's just like, because Bats is a fucking psycho, but he's smart.
Mhm.
So he's just like, you know that bitch? And Baby's just like, no. And
Pulls the gun out.
yeah, he like pulls a fucking gun out and he's like, you know that bitch? And it's like, and he's like stuffed in the corner of this booth,
Yeah,
and he's just like, God damn it.
And you're left to wonder, like, why do you even care, Bats?
Yeah.
Like, you're so psychotic.
That's what I was asking myself, but now what it is, he finally has something over Baby.
He's a psycho. That's all it is. And that's like the terrifying part of it, is because we know Bats so well by this point.
Yeah.
But he's a psycho. The guy goes into a gas station and steals an entire rack of gum for no reason.
Yeah, he's like, anybody want some gum? And he just dumps packs of.
And then it's not even like the other two are better. Buddy and Sweetie.
Yeah.
Is the other two, John Hamm and
something Gazelle, Aaliyah Gazelle.
They're no better. They're just as psychotic. Bats goes into the gas station, and they start making out in the back, and she asks John Hamm to kill Bats, when the job is done.
And he's like giggling, looking into her eyes. He's like, "Oh, babe, you want me to kill Bats?"
She's like, what's romantic? When you stab a guy. Which guy? The guy that looked at you funny? The guy that tried to rob you? The guy that
stared at your ass?
Yeah, and she's like, no, I want you to kill Bats. He goes, you want me to kill Bats? She goes, obviously after the job's done. Oh, okay. And it's like, all of these people are psychos, and poor Baby's in the middle of it. But Baby has protection. Baby has, Kevin Spacey. They know not to fuck.
He's got Doc.
Yeah, they know not to fuck with Baby.
That's his only form of hope.
Yeah, but then Debbie gets thrown into this fucking hurricane.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no.
Yeah, that's really not good, because she has nothing.
Yeah, there's
they could kill her in front of Baby just to prove some kind of. But this movie to me is a fucking 10 out of 10 flick.
Oh, this I
hands down.
I really can't come up with a thing I don't like. I mean, even anything that you could see as a flaw, it really just gets lost in
everything,
in the goodness of it. It's like, maybe you don't. I'd say the one thing that I wouldn't like, if it wasn't so good, is that it's weird that it's a love story. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very strange story to insert a love aspect.
Yeah, because I could even just see this movie as Baby trying to just regain his freedom.
Yeah.
To me, that would even be enough. But then again, he doesn't really have a motive to leave until he does meet Debbie.
Yeah.
But I could have seen
but
that
even
going...
is even motive, leaving is the motive enough.
Yeah,
I
wanting
that.
Yeah,
I would want to do that shit either.
Yeah, wanting out of that just alone, I totally get.
And then now here's something at the finish line too.
Yeah.
It's just another thing to add on top.
Because when they first meet, or one of their first couple dates, she's like, man, I just want to fill up my car with gas, just head west with no plans and just listening to my radio. And he if his jaw could hit the floor, it would. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And then he's like, okay, I got to get the fuck out of here. That's his last straw, was just I can't do this shit.
I love later on when he goes into the diner and she's like, oh, I'm getting out of here in 30 seconds. And then she's like, is there anything you want? He goes, yeah, I'd like to get out of here. It's like, damn, baby, you smooth motherfucker.
Yeah. She's like, well, I'm just doing laundry. He's like, let's go.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck.
Yeah, and then they they share a thing of headphones.
But it's even not to get too, not to huff it too much, but it's even a grander metaphor where she's like, do you want anything? He's like, to get out of here. And it's like, yeah, that's what they both want. That's what that.
Yeah, they're not just saying the diner. They want to fucking get out of where they are.
They want to get out of their life situations, that city, the diner, the being single, the helping people murder people for money.
Yeah. And her working these awful shifts.
Because
when you think about it, because here's the thing.
Gabby, answer the phone.
Because her boss is a douche, and also the diner's never busy.
Mm-hmm.
She's not making a ton of money there.
Yeah.
She's a shit waitress.
I'm pretty sure Baby's the only customer.
Yeah. But yeah, like they're like never busy and her boss is a dick. Like, dude, here's the thing. When I worked at that restaurant, dude, no one would come in my last few months of working there, and my boss was a psycho. I was never more fucking depressed. I was just taking shots at the bar. Like, no one was in this restaurant.
Yep.
And I was just alone at the bar. I'd log into my Netflix on the TV behind the bar and just put on movies I wanted to watch. I'd order food from the kitchen and just drink until my boss would pass out. I'd lock the restaurant and go home for like a solid 2 months. I was making no money. And now they closed down.
Yay.
Yay, they got bought out.
Yay, good. I hope they
So-
turn it into a parking lot.
Yeah. Well, actually, the restaurant down the street bought them out.
I know, that's why I hope they turn it into a parking lot.
This is why I sold it for car parking.
Yes, that's what it was being used for already.
But yeah, man, I mean, you know, like, there were grand metaphors in this, you know? There were bigger, you know...
I love the gun dealer.
yeah.
Oh, there's all the characters are so weird too. Him especially. The gun dealer calls himself the butcher, so he talks about all the guns like they're pieces of meat.
Yeah.
He's like, would you like the fine cut tenderloin, or and he's
Like a
points
box
to
of
a
grenades.
box of grenades. And then he's like anything from when you're smoking pigs, and it's like,
we get it.
yeah,
But like,
Nice.
that's kind of annoying, but you're not supposed to like that guy.
yeah.
You know, he's annoying. You're supposed to find him annoying. Like, he's dumb.
I just like the smoking pigs
Yeah.
double entendre. It's like, hey, he's talking about smoking a pig and shooting a cop.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I mean, dude, there were just so many great aspects to this movie. And like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about the ending because I don't want to spoil it if
It's
people
so
haven't seen it.
crazy,
But
though.
it's such a perfect ending. Like, just to put it this way, something happens to what John Hamm's character,
Mhm.
and like, you know, shit kind of hit the fan. Cops are kind of swarming the city, and Baby like goes into a diner, and John Hamm is just sitting there, like, just drinking coffee, just staring down into it, and he has like a pistol folded into a newspaper, and he's like, "Hey, baby,"
It's so
and he's
terrifying.
and he's like the last person that Baby wants to.
He
see
goes
right
there to
now.
get Debbie because it's the diner.
Yeah.
He goes there to get Debbie, and John Hamm is sitting at the fucking bar, and he's like, "Have a seat, baby." And you're like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
No. And at this
know,
point,
dude,
it's
and
like,
the tension is just bonkers.
yeah, yeah. This not only is this the last person Baby wanted to run into, it's the last person he should have ran into.
Yeah.
Like this is the monkey wrench in the machine.
Yeah.
This is the one thing, like that's now preventing a clean getaway.
And
Like without John Hamm, they might have had a chance. Now they're fucked.
But that's what's crazy to me though is like how that did play out kind of smoothly.
Yeah.
Was how like John Hamm throughout this whole movie loved Baby, like a lot. Like he was always like, "You tell him, baby," whenever like John Bernthal or
The
Jamie Foxx
Crocodile Rock.
give him shit. Yeah, he was always like,
What you listening to, baby?
fucking that Queen song.
yeah, Crocodile Rock.
No, that was that's Elton John. It was something Brighton Rock, something rock. But yeah, it was by Queen.
Alright.
And you know, he was always like, "Yeah, man," like listening to his tunes.
That's his like getaway song.
Yeah, and then at the end though, the way that it turns, and now it's like John Hamm kind of turns into this like almost lead antagonist, and you're just like, "Whoa!" But it like
Turns to a fucking monster.
yeah, he turns it, yeah, literally a fucking like, yeah, a fucking monster, and it worked so well, and you were just like, and you could see how it would happen though, because it
The setup of the movie is kind of leading you to this place where it's like, okay, this is like it's like a boiling point.
yeah.
It's like you're watching water heat up, and at this point the water is fully boiling. Like you're just like,
And what I love about a movie like Baby Driver is like, if you really look at it and you're watching it for the first time, it's like you can maybe kind of go on the assumption that he's gonna get away with Deborah. But like what I love about Edgar Wright movies is this has gone for every single one of them. I have no fucking idea how they were supposed to end. I've seen so many movies where I'm like, well, yeah, I know how this is going to end. You know?
Usual Suspects. Oh, I saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I knew Usual Suspects was gonna end that way.
Oh.
Yeah, 100%. I would have bet my car on it. It was gonna end that way. But yeah, dude, it's like I love movies where I have no fucking idea how they're gonna end, even
Well-
if it's kind of shitty. I'm like, well, how is this gonna fucking end?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, that's the beauty of Baby Driving being its own movie,
Yeah.
with no franchise around.
In its own little world.
At the time, it didn't have a sequel. I don't know what the deal with the sequel is right now.
Yeah, because he was talking about it, but dude, I thought it had such a good ending. I just
that-
don't think it
that and the
needs-
Joker movie. I thought,
Yeah, what the fuck is going on with that? I mean, here's the
it-
thing. You and me saw Joker in theaters, and we were blown away.
yep,
But it got too popular too fucking fast,
yeah.
and now I'm kind of like not
It's DC
into it.
finally has something people like.
But notice how DC only does good when they're not attached to these franchises. Like, look at, obviously the Dark Knight trilogy. That was its own private little thing. This Joker movie, its own little thing. It's like...
Yeah, anything outside, I think it's anything outside their studio.
Yeah.
Their in-house studio fucking blows dick.
horrible. Dude, The Flash, I heard, got a worse box office opening than Black Adam.
Why do they keep trying
I
with
know.
that fucking character? The show sucked. The movie sucked.
They brought Michael Keaton back in as Batman. And to
Yeah,
me, that's
and
such
then-
a let.
and then tried to sell the movie on that alone. It's like, no, dipshit. It's a Flash movie.
Yeah.
It would be like if I wrote a Batman movie and like, look, Jack Nicholson is in it,
He's here.
but he's playing the character from The Shining. It's like, okay.
Yeah, Baby Driver 2 is popping up on IMDb, but there is nothing said about it.
I think
there is not a
Didn't Ansel-
poster. It says be the first to add a plot. Like there's no plot. It just says
isn't
it's
Ansel Elgort in some shit? Didn't he get like Me Too'd?
I don't think so. Oh, I think he did.
Oh, yeah, I think it was
I
something
saw-
with a 16-year-old.
No, I thought.
I think it was allegations. I don't know
Yeah.
if they ever proved it, but
Yeah,
and obviously,
someone-
well, Kevin Spacey too. But he, for reasons you'll understand if you see the movie, he wouldn't be in the sequel.
Yeah. Well, actually, Kevin Spacey's acting again.
Yeah, but no studio would let him onto their movie.
You never know.
Not a big studio. Not
Yeah. Sony. I
the
think, made
yeah
this movie.
the Joker this Joker sequel, from what I've seen, looks okay.
Isn't Lady Gaga in it?
Yeah, she plays Harley Quinn,
Okay.
which could be interesting. I don't know.
It could. It's just, you know what it is?
I don't know
It's
where
all-
they're going to take the story. That's what kind of worries me. I don't know where you could go from Joker
To,
1.
to me, it's just all so recent. It's like they just did the Joker, and they keep doing these like Harley Quinn spin-off movies, and I just keep fucking hearing about them.
Well, they're trying to compete with fucking Disney money.
I know, but it's just like, holy fuck. It's like, can you pump the brake for a fucking minute? It's like, notice how you keep pumping out shit and it's not doing well. Maybe sit down and read the fucking script. Take proper notes and stop just fucking doing this. And why does their CGI always look so fucking bad? It always looks like fucking dog shit. It looks like a student film where someone just gave this kid like, here's a couple dollars for CGI. And he's like, oh, fuck yeah. And he did the best he could. This movie, like, I can't fucking do it anymore. I don't want to ever watch a superhero, a supervillain. I don't want to watch any of them ever again.
Marvel's not too much better. Well, so I
have not seen a Marvel movie since Endgame.
well, no, we saw several.
Oh, well, we were for the podcast we watched.
podcast.
For the podcast we watched.
I haven't willingly seen a Marvel movie.
Yeah, for our podcast we had to see fucking Ant-Man 3 and
Spider-Man doesn't count.
I won't count
was
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man's not a Marvel movie. That
that's
was
its
a
own
movie.
thing. It's an association. God damn it.
You know what it is? The way the animation industry works is fucking horrible. Like, it doesn't work. The way it works is Disney goes to a company and they say, we need 300 scenes, this, and that. But they don't specify how much work each scene is. Like, a scene could be, like in Baby Driver, all the graffiti on the walls, that's all CGI.
Yeah.
That's as easy as just putting, words on a wall. A scene could be that, or a scene could be, do the entire fight between Thanos and the Hulk. And there's no way of knowing what you're going to get until you have it, but they always give the same amount of time. They're like, yeah, so we need like 300 scenes in like a year.
And
They're
it's
like, okay.
oh, great.
And then it's like one scene could be, you know, Ant-Man jumping off a pubic hair. And then the next scene, yeah, and then the next scene could be the entire end of Endgame, and it's like, yeah, these poor fucking animators, like, and then just to like put that much work into something, give it your all, and then ship it out to us when we're just gonna make fun of it. It's a horrible industry, man.
Yeah, man. What the fuck? But then
They need to get their shit together.
It goes down to the lowest of the low because you have the studio head who approves.
Well, yeah, it's not the animator's fault.
No,
it's the
but get a load of
studios
this. You have
that
the studio
designed
head
this system.
that, you know, obviously says this is your budget, get this done, and then you have the workers that do it. Then the movie gets shipped out, and then it gets shown, and then it gets reviewed, and then you and me hear about these reviews like, oh, I heard it was good, I heard it was bad. All right, well, let's go see it and do our review. Then it gets reviewed by us. Then it gets put on YouTube and TikTok, and then people review our review and mainly tell us we're not funny. So it goes all the way down. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, the studios make the animators do shit, and then they don't care.
Yeah.
It's like the studios like give these impossible fucking.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
It's
But anyway, do you have any more notes on this?
no. My only note is go see the movie.
Yeah, see fucking Baby Driver. I know it came out like 6 years ago,
I
but
think it's on Hulu. I rented it on YouTube. It's $3.
I saw it on YouTube TV with it has ads, but it's great.
I have it on DVD if anybody wants to come over.
Well, then you have to tell them where you live.
No,
He lives on